My name is Heath Ornby, work for the W.T. Waggoner Estate in Vernon, Texas. Is before we started using these oilers, I feel like our cattle were just wadded up all the time and fighting flies throughout the summer and hanging out in tanks like they normally do. And it seemed like these flies were just keeping these cattle wadded up all day, and I just never really felt like our yearlings were having, getting to get out and graze for that reason. And since we've put these oilers out, you can pretty much drive by these pastures any time of the day, and they're not wadded up. They're out grazing early through mid-morning, and they're not. I just don't feel like they're fighting flies, like they were at first. Yeah. So when I first got here to the ranch, and when starting about probably January, February, when the lice hit, these cattle on one of our yearling camps where we have very few trees. These cattle would really get to rubbing on these fences, and they would just rub large holes in the fence, a couple of 100 feet. We'd go, and of course we'd get cattle mixed up, and we'd go back, sort them up, pull the fence back up. You could do that in an evening. You could do it on a daily basis. And it just seemed like every day the same holes would be rubbed. It didn't matter how many T-posts we put in. These things were just rubbing, trying to get the lice off of them. And so that was one of my ideas. We put these oilers out there, and since then we haven't put up any fence. I mean, it completely solved our problem and our major issue on that. And I mean, it was a big one. If anybody has had to sort yearlings, because of gates getting knocked down or fences, holes in the fence, doing that once is a real pain and aggravating. Doing it on a weekly basis was getting real old, and so it has completely solved our problems there. So that's been a huge benefit. We were having to have one man ride around all day long and do nothing but fix these holes. It wasn't new fence, so as far as material, it probably didn't save a whole lot on material. But if I'm replacing a lot of these fences now, and so if you want to talk about the dollar amount on new fence, I think anybody listening to this could probably, get pretty close on what it costs to build new fence on their place. But I would say, one full-time fence guy, and then whatever it costs you to build fence on your place. So, a lot of people, when they first hear about these things, they're real skeptical. But I was too, but I was to a point where I didn't really know what to do, and so I just wanted to give it a shot. And I just challenge anybody, if you're having trouble with anything, just give them a shot, and they'll either work for your operation or they won't. But I mean, for us, it was a no-brainer, because we're targeting achieving our goals, our targeted goals, with just by putting these oilers out there and keeping them charged up with this chemical. So I mean, for us, it is saving not only on labor and fencing, but also labor in cowboys and a lot of time. And I feel like a lot of gain, driving these cattle to pens and spending days upon days, if not weeks, working them just to get fly control.